Hello. This webinar will cover the Insurance tab and the Coverages module. The Coverages module has been migrated from CMS Legacy to CMS NetWeb. After searching for and selecting a client, click on the Insurance tab. If the coverage exists, it will be shown here. As you can see, there is an existing coverage for this client. Now, sometimes there will be you will see a coverage record with a plus sign next to it. What that means is that's a coverage record with historical information. If you click on the plus sign to expand it and view this information, and you can edit each one of these records, the currently active one and the historical one. And what constitutes a collapsed historical record would be the attempt is adding a coverage of the same carrier and policy, but a break in the service period. Users may edit records in their own counting error program, the same as in registration. The client information header is shared across all modules and is a standard, and as you would see in the other CMS screens. Okay, at this time we're now going to create a new coverage record. What you'll do is you'll click the Add Coverage button. You notice that all required fields are marked with a red asterisk. The carrier name field is used to locate the desired insurance carrier, and you can search by either full name, a partial name, or the carrier code. For instance, let's say Blue Shield or Blue Cross. You can type Blue and click Find, and it'll give you a list of results to pick for. You can also type the code and press Enter, and it'll autocomplete. Now, the scope field, you'll notice if you mouse over the scope field, it'll expand with more information regarding the scope of coverage for this carrier. The policy number, you can enter the policy number. It's a required field. Pardon me. A start date is also a required field. It has to be a valid date and can't be prior to the client's date of birth. Stop date, if you have that, you can enter that here, as well as deductible, annual max benefit, and out-of-pocket expenses in whole dollar amounts. To add excluded benefits, you'll want to click the Select button and select the benefits that you want to add. If you have added some in error that you want to edit, click Select again, and you can unselect some of them and click Submit, and that'll modify your list. If you try to hit backspace in this field, it will actually take you back to the prior screen, and you will lose your changes. So you don't want to use backspace. In general, that's the rule. Policyholder information, last name is a required field, and you can go ahead and enter some basic information here. Relationship is also a required field. The options are dependent, other, self, or spouse. Phone number and extension can also be added. Policy paid by and quarterly premium. These fields will only appear if the client is a GHPP client. Now, for policy paid, there's employer, employer/self, HIPR program, other, and self as options. You can enter comments for a coverage. These will appear as a case note. Now, once all the required information and your optional information has been entered, you go ahead and click Save, and it'll say Coverage saved successfully. Now, there are certain circumstances where a coverage record might not be able to be saved. If the patient is 21 years of age or older and is not in GHPP, no coverage will be created. If the coverage you're trying to add is a duplicate of an existing coverage for that same patient record, no new coverage will be created. A duplicate would be considered a match in date, carrier, and policy number of an existing coverage. Also, so if you're saving a record, it may sometimes merge with existing records if the dates overlap. If you're also trying to add coverage for a case that's marked as duplicate in registration, you'll receive an error saying registration for this patient record is marked as duplicate and you will not be able to add a coverage. Now, at this point, what we want to do is we want to modify an existing coverage. Let's go back out to the search screen. We've entered our test case and we click Continue, and it will land automatically on that Insurance tab. You can select a record and add additional information or benefit amounts. And click Save. Now, if you go to the Case Notes module, you'll be able to see the case notes that were created from that action. And you can see that the case note is created. This is the original information that was created, and this is the update we just completed on that case note. The last thing we're going to cover is removing a coverage record. Now, one thing to check for as well is down here at the bottom there's a source field, which is new to this module. If the source is meds, you're not going to be able to do anything except add comments to that record. If the source is CMS, then you'd be able to modify that record. Now, to remove existing coverage, there's two ways you can do it. The first one is to click the X under the Remove column, and I'm going to go ahead and do that for this Blue Cross coverage. If you click that X, you'll get a message that says it'll be deleted permanently, and do you want to delete? Click OK, and the coverage is gone. The other method to delete a coverage is to add a stop date that is 1 day after the start date. So in this case, we have a start date of 1/1/2013. We're going to add a stop date of 1/2/2013 and click Save. You'll receive a message that says this action will delete the coverage because the start date and stop date difference is less than 2 days. Are you sure you want to delete this coverage? If you do, then you go ahead and click OK. Now let's take a look at the case note that was generated from that action. You can see the case note for that coverage is marked as deleted coverage. This concludes the webinar for the Insurance tab and the Coverages module for CMS Net Web. For more information, a manual is available on the CMS Net website for this module. Thank you.